Okay.
You got several
Hey,
people.
everybody. Glad to see all y'all in chat. I'm not going to be doing. I'm going to do like Roger, not pay a whole lot of attention to the chat because can't type it in there fast enough to respond and keep up with what's going on the screen. But we got Mark, Gary, and Roger, and we're going to talk about what happened down at the campout this past week, 2 weeks ago.
There was a lot of different stuff going on, wasn't it? And I don't know how much we've actually heard all of it yet or not.
All right. Was that Thursday or Friday that the three of us seen that in the driveway?
I thought that was Wednesday.
Okay, it may have been.
I didn't get to come down on Thursday because I had to work. So I think that was Wednesday, I think.
Well, I know I didn't get there till Wednesday, so I didn't think it was that day, but could have been.
Because me and Rebecca, well, she got to come on Thursday night. I didn't get to come down at all on Thursday because of work. So, so I'm pretty sure it was Wednesday.
Should have had Billy on here too. We had activity before y'all ever got there Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, Billy won't come on with us. He chickened out.
Billy, get up here.
But anyhow,
Billy ain't scared of nothing.
The three of us were sitting there talking with everybody else in the group up there at the little tent things. And we all three had a glimpse of something out of our peripheral vision, as far as I know, going through the woods. Is that right?
Well, it was dead on for me. It wasn't out of my peripheral vision.
Okay.
It was just a streak across there so fast that you couldn't. It was just a black streak. That's all it was. It was so fast.
I know that's exactly what I was saying, a black streak. I didn't hear nothing going through the woods, but I seen the whatever it was go through there.
And for people that's never been there, you've heard us talk about no light sources and stuff. When the moon is kind of full like it was, and you have that driveway, you can see a little bit. So if something was to cross right in there, if you were looking that way, I'd imagine you'd see it.
Hey, Roger.
Yes, sir.
This was in the daylight. This was not in the dark.
Oh, really?
This was broad daylight.
Oh, I didn't know that, y'all. Dang.
Yeah, it was daylight.
Yeah, we went down there afterwards and found the tracks.
I was facing toward where you were sitting at, Roger, where you were sitting at. I was facing that way. Gary was right across from me, and then Wendell was right over here to the left of me. Both of them were facing the opposite direction I was facing.
Okay.
I watched Gary's eyes go to like silver dollars.
Yeah.
and his mouth open up. It's like I knew then something was going on, and then Wendell said, "What was that?" And that's when Gary come back. He said, "All I know is this big blur just went across that road right there in that little, and it's a funnel. It's a little funnel. It's maybe 25 feet wide from wood line to wood line." And then we walked down there, and we started finding the impressions.
Really?
From one side of the road to the other side. So,
wow.
And there was a pretty good trail there too. You could almost look down through there and see a trail. So something has been using that little alleyway, you want to call it, little funnel. Something's been using that on a regular basis. So
well, and that makes sense. Woods to woods there. It's a short distance across to be hid from exposed for a short amount of time, right? Like deer use and all that. So
right.
It would be a good crossing point.
Roger, it was 10 foot past the porta potties where it was at.
That's what I was about to say. I appreciated that porta potty, but I had to walk down there by myself a couple of times. It was kind of spooky, but I appreciated it. Whoever
you can thank Mr. Jim for that.
Man, God,
Mr. Jim.
thank you, Mr. Jim, because you saved a lot of us.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
I was
Next
going to
time-
have to bring my potty if we hadn't gotten it.
Well, the next time y'all do something like that, if y'all want us to chip in, we'll gladly do that because that is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let nobody chip in. I was going to order it and pay for it, and he wouldn't let me. He paid for it himself.
Oh man,
They have went up. They went up this year. Last year they wasn't that bad, but I guess it's like everything else. So they went up. So, but it's well worth it, and it keeps people out of the woods and stuff laying around everywhere, and
Wow.
you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, especially if you're gonna be there that long, more than a day or two. So I got a question for Wendell, because do you ever sleep when you camp out like that? Because I'd wake up 2:30 in the morning, 3:30, 4:30, and he'd be in there on his phone. I could see it glowing, and every now and then I'm like, I hope that's Wendell.
I do, but not for long.
Okay. There's a couple of times. Please let that be Wendell.
After the three of us seen that one cross the road, I was sitting up there with everybody chatting, and there was something crossed down there in the holler where Pat and them camped at that blocked out two trees. And Joe rode me down on the back of his pickup truck and got over there. That thing was over 9 feet tall.
I didn't hear
I
about
know.
that one now.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't believe it, but we had them around us all week. When Billy and I got there, Billy was there when I pulled in. I don't know how long he'd been there, but not too long. But we kept smelling something dead, but yet there was nothing dead anywhere around, and the wind wasn't even out of the direction where the dead smell was coming from. But it would come and go; it never stayed, and we smelled it for a couple of days. But all week long, they were around us. I mean, there was one back behind us when we were sitting there at the food table. There was one back behind us all week. There was one across the road over behind Wendell's car all week, and then there's one up behind my tent all week long.
Right.
Well, I do know this. What little time we were there were sounds like Harley's in chat right now. He sent a text. I don't know. I saw it at 2:12, but I think it was 15 or 20 minutes before. Had something going on right there beside us. Of course, they were sleeping in the tent. His girls, they were crying. Heavy footfalls, a grunt or whatever, and something broke. And of course, we get out. There's nothing I could do but help the girls feel better. And from what I heard on another show, that's Erica, and Chad. They were having something go on about the same time, the same night over there where they were at, and there wasn't that far, but those woods right there, I mean, there was little things like little sounds, and well, I wonder if that's is that Billy going down in there, because there were people walking some, but the ones you couldn't explain, there was quite a bit of that. I didn't turn my back on it much. I mean, there's not a lot you can do, but I didn't turn my back totally towards the woods line at any time. So,
well, there was a lot going on that whole week, and I know a few people's holding on to what happened to them because I think they're going to start their own channel, and they want. Yeah. And I understand that completely. And Patrick, I know he probably don't mind us saying this, but he's seen an orb.
Mm-hmm.
And then Katie G caught something on her phone. I was talking to Joe and Pat last night, or messaging. She caught some audio that's strange. They're supposed to send it to me to listen to it. So Wendell seen something or somebody, Saturday night walked back to the gate. Now, Rebecca said that was her, but Wendell said it was a lot bigger than where Rebecca had been. So, and it looked more like a man. So I have no idea what that was.
And I remember y'all talking about that after it was happening, and I never saw or heard anything, and
Right.
and I really didn't know what y'all were talking about. And then I think Wendell came over and said that somebody walked back there and didn't come back. So
Yeah, I sat there and watched for 2 hours, and whoever it was didn't come back down.
So
in that
I don't
2
know.
hours.
I don't know if you seen a ghost. I have no idea. I mean, because we tried to, when you call, I think you called my phone, and when I picked up, I couldn't hear you, and you called somebody else,
I called Billy.
and
tried to get both of y'all to check and see if anybody had walked out of camp.
right, and we kind of scanned, and it looked like everybody was there. I mean, it's hard to say that 100%, but it looked like, because this was before or right at dusky dark, wasn't it?
Well, you see what I got here?
I can see it. I don't know what we're.
See if I can zoom it in any.
It looks like I see some stumps or something at the bottom, or logs.
Or is that a 5-gallon bucket on the left?
No, it's
okay.
What is it?
Well, I've lost. Let me get back.
You sound like me when Roger. Remember Friday night when
that's a trash can and it looks like some stuff was there at the edge of the woods behind Donna and Sherry's trailer down there at the edge of the woods, with looked like some eye shine at the bottom right there.
Oh, real close to the ground there. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And
it's very possible. I mean,
the little video clip I posted on the Facebook group, I can't get it to come up for some reason. Let me see if I can get rid of this.
Just looking at the chat, Katie G mentioned she was there when we spotted the red light. Excuse me, spotted the red light. She turned around and looked right at it, and of course it was moving in the tops of the trees. And with that slant, I don't know, it had to be 30, 40 foot up probably. And
she is
fucking right. That I was wondering what y'all thought about. I know sitting around and before we had the hot dogs and Mark said a really good prayer and stuff. Do you think that could stir up some stuff too? Or if it's not, Pop said, yeah.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that. That sequence was we sat around the fire and then we all kind of split off and then all this started happening. So I'm trying to think back of everything that went on before, some of it started. So, but I just don't know, y'all. I know Mark, Gary, y'all have had a whole lot more experience than I have.
Well, that place is just a hotbed. It always has been. It's got that vibe. I mean, you got the quartz there. It's sitting on the 33rd parallel. I mean, it's just a hotbed spot. Just a lot going on. There's more in there. There's more there than just boogers. There's more stuff there at that place. And what Gary saw. I mean, the expression on Gary's face told me everything.
Exactly.
I mean, it was a expression of surprise, and I ain't believing it done that. I mean, I wish I could have took a picture of him when he done that. That way, I mean, you could really see what was happening because his face told me all that something was behind us. Now, what I do remember about that where we were at, and Gary and Wendell probably can back me up on this. You had Billy's truck sitting there, which was kind of blocking that area a little bit. And I can't remember what else was there, but the canopies were up. And so sort of that area was blocked a little bit unless you were sitting just right where you could look. And
there's several cars parked around there at that time.
So Gary and Wendell just happened to be sitting at the spot where they could see that area pretty good. And if somebody else had been looking that way, they'd probably got a glimpse of it too. And so it's just one of them, I guess you call lucky moments. You know, that's what I call it. You just happen to be looking at the right spot at the right time. And
Yeah.
I know both of them seen something because when we walked over, there's impressions there. There's no doubt there's impressions there. And them to do something like that in the daytime, yeah, I think they'd do it in the daytime, you know.
That's what surprised me about it. I knew he was there. I could feel him down there. But for him to run across that road in broad daylight like that in front of all of us is what surprised me so much. And
Right.
I mean, it was a juvenile, but where he pushed off on the east right side of the road, that impression was at least 6 inches deep where he'd pushed off with his foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah, you
other
can-
side of the road, you could just see the impressions where he stepped as he went into the woods. And then we went down in the woods a little ways, and I could find a few impressions here and there. But I got up in there maybe 30 yards, and they told me no farther, turn around, get out. So that's exactly what I did. And I figured I knew why, but I didn't find out until later why exactly. They had a little one up in there running around that they were scared of getting in trouble. So when they said to get out, I got out.
So Patrick got a picture of the print or the prints. Is that what he's saying?
I was thinking somebody did. I won't say
Okay.
somebody was taking pictures.
I
of
took a picture, but it got gone.
Huh.
No, I didn't take any pictures of it. I won't take pictures, and there's reasons behind that. That I
Patrick
won't
says yes,
disclose
he's
it.
got a picture.
I figure some other people got pictures of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, Katie was sitting there and looking down towards where I saw the shadow cross the bluff down there close to Pat's camper. And she said it looked like she was having a hard time seeing through the air. Like something might have been cloaking down there, blocking where she couldn't see down through there as clearly.
Well, Mark, you know, you talk about the reaction of people. The people at church, you know, we have a little security thing going on, and I'm in the worst spot most of the time. I'm in the back row, and we were having a meeting one time, and they're like, Roger, you know, when the doors open, you never turn around. I said, I know, but I'm watching y'all's eyes. You know, the ones that do turn around, if their eyes get big, I know it's, you know, something's going on. But that same look, you know, was during the day. Heather got her new glasses. She was proud of them. She was pointing out all the way down through there. You know, oh, I can see this sign now and everything. And she was leaned back like this, relaxing, and all of a sudden her eyes did that, and she started forward, and I'm like, oh, what is it? Well, long story short, that's when she saw the arm. She said it was about that long, and like it reached around the base of a tree down there close to where the watermelon was, and then it pulled back, and there was a sapling here, and it pushed that sapling over and came back, and it popped back up. So that was pretty detailed, you know, like I think I saw something but she said it was a black arm, and that's what happened when it went around. I went down the side of the truck, tried to get a different angle on it. And I went in there with it. I never saw anything and can't tell you what it could be, you know. But I do know this. I don't know what she saw, but she saw something because she had the same look on her face, kind of what you're describing, you know, as these two. So when people are legit reacting to something they don't know what it is, you get the truth on their face, you know. Yeah.
Well, Stacy, I recorded Stacy's what she's seen down there, and I've got to release it tonight or tomorrow night. I need to have it where to come out before this weekend. She's seen something too, and that was her first time to really see something.
Yeah.
I think some of y'all were sitting there with her when that was going on. I know Gary probably was. I'm not sure about Wendell.
We talked about it a lot, but I didn't want to say nothing to it because I knew you'd recorded it.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. She ain't got an issue with me saying anything about it.
You talking about the one that was waving at her with the leaves?
Yes.
Well, that's not all. Wendell, there was a lot more to the story than
There's a lot
she's
more.
let out so far.
In fact, she went through everything that's ever happened to her since she's been going to Hollins and up at the grist mill, at the Kyle Mugger grist mill. So that's going to be a good little video that's going to come out. And I'm glad she was willing to do that because she's not new to this, but she is, I guess what you'd say. She's been in the chat. She's been in watching the YouTubes, but here in the last year or so, they've started coming to outings. And I'll be honest with you, that's the ones I love for stuff to happen to. Nothing to hurt them or scare them to death, but because it's genuine. Well, I ain't gonna say everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A good one to get because they're starting to understand what a lot of us are talking about. And and everything. So,
well, Mark, that Stacy and I were talking the other night, and she said she wanted to go back, and I asked her not to go back alone. So she may be getting in touch with you to not to camp out, just to go out there.
Right.
She may be getting in touch with you to go out there with her because I suggested you to her. I told you about it, Mark, but I haven't told everybody else about it. 2 nights. It was Saturday night and Monday night. There was an evil presence in that campground. And that's why I told her not to go out there by herself, to always at least take somebody with her.
Yeah, you told me there's a couple of nights you felt something wasn't right, and there's no telling what came through that area.
No, even the cryptids were uneasy those 2 nights.
Yeah,
this is where Billy's truck got hit.
Yeah, I had those pictures, but I didn't want to share them without Billy's permission.
Well, I think I have it. I may be wrong, but I think I have it.
Billy, is it okay if I tell that story since you don't want to get on here?
Send him a link. He'll get on here.
Yeah, get on him, Billy. Come on.
That the prints are always intrigue me. Like, it's funny, we could go up and touch that vehicle and you would know it's our hand. You can pretty much tell it's human, but when you see some of these partials, and why would anybody touch it like that? It's not what we usually do. If you leaned on it for steady, make you help steady yourself or something.
Right.
And that right there, I don't know how long that is, but that palm print, there you go again with that long palm. All
right, Billy, I posted the link there in the chat.
Hey, Roger.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
The thing about that is, everybody that was there was sitting behind Billy's truck when that happened to the front of his truck.
Oh, no.
There was nobody that could have been around there.
Wow.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey. Orbs, man.
How you doing, brother?
Hey,
I'm
Patrick.
doing good, man. Always good to see everybody.
Hey, Patrick.
What's
hey,
up?
y'all. And Pat came up to us before the video incident and told us about the orb, like almost as soon as we got there, didn't you?
Yeah.
You seen it the day before? The night before?
There's our buddy.
Yeah, it was about 3
Hey,
in the
brother
morning.
Billy.
And I walked out in the road and was looking down the road with my thermal, and that thing came flying straight at me and went right over my head.
Hey,
Yeah.
Billy.
Billy, what's up?
What's up, everybody?
Good to see you,
What
brother
up,
Good to see you,
Billy?
brother.
Yeah, man, good to be here.
You want to tell your story about your truck here?
I'll tell you whatever y'all want to hear. I'm just
Well, I'm going to
I didn't
sit
know how
back and
y'all. I
let
didn't know
you
you
and
was going
Gary
to do all
talk.
this tonight.
I'm going to sit back and let you and Gary and them talk about it. And
Well, I got a question first. I don't remember. Billy, how long you been there when I got there?
Oh, I don't know, hour or two.
Okay.
You were pretty close behind me.
A little after lunchtime, wasn't it, Billy?
I got there. Oh, I don't know, probably around 11:30, something like that, maybe 12.
what day was that?
Sunday.
It's Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Was it Saturday?
Yeah, I left out at 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning.
Okay, yeah. Well, it was Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning.
It took me 13 hours to get there, so I would have got there about 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
Wow.
It took me 13 hours to get there, so I would have got there about 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon.
That sounds about right. I was probably there about 11:30.
Somebody's echoing.
Billy, are you listening to the TV?
Somebody's echoing.
Yeah, it's delayed too.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I'm listening to
Well,
the
it
TV.
ain't me because I got mine cut off.
It's probably me. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I don't know nothing about all this stuff.
All
Hey,
right, Billy.
I don't either.
I just do the best I can. But yeah, man, it was again another wild time at Hollins, if you ask me.
Good time though.
Oh yeah.
Well, fill us in, Billy.
Huh?
Hey, which one of y'all was with Troy when he made that call?
Who was with him?
Yeah, was that you?
That was me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember them owls?
Oh yeah.
Them weren't owls hooting.
That's what Troy said.
Yeah, they sounded terrible. Well, there was two of them, but the first one started out, and then the second one kind of cut in, and he sounded terrible.
Yep. Yep.
Pat was making some owl calls too.
Yeah, but not that night. It was about 4 in the morning. That night it was just me and Troy out there. Everybody was in the bed.
I was
Pat
sitting
was
down there. I had a fire going, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You done dozed off. Remember, you had done dozed off. We come walking in behind you.
Yeah, but I heard the owls.
Yeah, that's what woke you up. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I can catch my foot on fire again.
Oh,
But yeah, it was pretty active. That's like the picture there. You know, we were sitting around playing music. It was Gary, myself, Sherry, Donna, and Mr. Jim. We were all just sitting around playing music, singing, just cutting up, you know. And somebody Sherry, I believe, handed me a song. We wanted to know if I knew it. I said, Sherry, I don't have my glasses, honey. I got to go around the truck and get my glasses. And down to get to my driver's side was pretty well blocked off with chairs. So I just walked around the passenger side. I didn't even carry a flashlight. I just walked around the passenger side of the truck, got over the driver's side, grabbed my glasses, shut the door, and walked back around. And about the time my butt hit the seat, something went boom, boom. And all of us, I looked around, everybody's mouths wide open and their eyes was bugged out. And they said, what was that? I said, I think something hit my truck. And like I said, the bottom end of it was pretty well blocked off. everybody jumps up. We run around the truck. Mr. Jim, he walks down the driver's side. And the best I can remember, he got over there first. We're just up there in the dark. I didn't have a flashlight then either. And next thing I know, Mr. Jim says, "Y'all see these handprints?" And that's one of the pictures that Wendell's got up there. That's one of the pictures that we took right after after it banged on the truck. You know what really freaked me out about that? Right beside where I was parked, there was a big pine. Actually on each side was a big pine. And I just think that as fast as that happened, I had to walk by that thing twice. You know, I walked by it in the dark, didn't even know. I didn't even think about nothing being there. And I walked right by that. It had to been real close to it to have smacked that truck that fast. And then it disappeared just as fast. You know, we came around. It was a few seconds of us just standing there with our mouths open and our eyes wide open, thinking, what the crap was that? And then we all jumped up and ran to the front of the truck. Well, it's done gone. You know, it's nowhere around.
If you'll think back a few minutes, not long before that, I told Donna to keep her eyes over towards that pine because there was something there.
I do remember that. I do remember that, Gary, now that you said that. Well, I really believe it had to have been standing right there at that pine.
It was. I seen it.
Well, I didn't, and I'm glad, but.
And there's another picture of somebody had a mark on their car.
I think that's Joe's.
Well, that's Chad, Blackie's.
That is?
Yeah, that's Blackie's.
I thought Blackie's he's on there.
That's a truck right there. They had a car.
I think that's Joe's truck.
Yeah, it says F-50 there.
That's better than I can. But yeah, Black and them had a story about handprints as well. But I'll let them tell that. He was on. I guess he still is.
Yeah.
But it's like Roger and them seeing that red orb. You remember I was standing up there, and when I left Troy sitting up there with y'all talking.
Yeah.
And then shortly I came back and got Troy.
Yes. Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
I know he was sitting there on the back of the truck.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Well, about halfway through the field between you and our camp, I was walking down through and I glanced down in that same general direction that y'all were seeing the red one. I seen a brilliant blue one. I mean, it was brilliant blue. It almost looked like a LED. It was so bright. And I set my drink bottle down in the field and walked back and got Troy. And when we got back to my drink bottle, I said, now look right straight down through the woods, kind of back over toward where Roger and them's at, and tell me what you see. And he said, oh my God. He said, that thing is blue. I've never seen a blue that color blue. And we thought it was somebody's equipment. You know, maybe somebody had something in the woods.
Right.
But everybody I checked with, nobody had anything that had a blue LED when it lit up. So I don't know if it was blue when we seen it. I don't know what that was either. I don't know.
Patrick is cycling for some reason.
He's cycling.
What's he
I didn't even know the boy could ride a bicycle. I didn't know Patrick could ride a bicycle.
Motor tickle.
Well, if I had a little circle going around on his face there for a second when it made that noise, so I knew it was him.
Oh, okay. But it was a lot of things happened down there, you know, like with Katie, seeing she said, look at this. And I got over beside of her and actually stepped behind her and looked down her arm at where she was pointing. And she said, can you see it? The air's bending. And it was a real strange looking thing. You know, the air was doing something. I don't know if bending's the right word or not, but it was doing something. I mean, it's broad daylight. Kind of looked like if you were looking down a hot road and you know how you get the shimmers in the in the air. You know, this heat coming off the road kind of shimmers. Yeah. That's about what I saw.
What they call one cloaking.
Go ahead.
What they
there
call
was one cloaked.
I don't know what you said. It jumbles up. Try it again.
I said it was one cloaked.
Oh, cloaked. Well, I've thought about that too. I don't know. You're probably right. I don't know. It was something. Happening right there in that little spot. But yeah, I seen it. But one afternoon, Sherry and them had something hit the camper on Mr. Jim's side and woke Jim up. That was early in the morning, one morning. And then when Troy got there, he parked right in front of that big tree that I thought something had been standing at. We got in that night about 4 a.m. He said, man, I'm wore out. I'm going to bed. I said, well, you go on. I'll hold the light so you can see what you're doing. He went down and crawled in his truck. And when I heard him hit the pod and lock the truck, I just crawled on up in my truck, and I think I'd gone to sleep by the time my head hit the pillow. Next thing I know, I hear Troy hollering, and I get up and go out. I said, what's going on, man? He said, did you just walk to the bathroom? I said, no. As soon as I got in the truck, I was out. He said, well, something just came out from under the canopy, walked down between us, and he said, I had one of my windows rolled down about 3 inches to get air, and it looked at me through the window and went on down past my truck and out toward he thought the bathroom. But I don't know what that was either. You know, it was kind of strange. You know, I didn't hear anything. I was out. I was wore out. By the end of that week, I was whipped. But
I enjoyed the devil out of meeting Troy.
Yeah, Troy's a good dude, man. I think the world of Troy. I talked to him this morning for a while. But I hated he had to leave because his ulcers was giving him a fit, but he's doing better now. He's back up working and doing the best he can in this hot weather. But yeah, it was several things happened down there, really strange. You know, I wondered about Roger and them getting that video. Did I see the blue orb that turned into a red orb by the time they got to Roger and them? I don't know. But it was
you
a
see
blue.
The picture I have up now?
Yes, I seen that. I seen it posted.
Yeah, I got that out of his little video he released.
Right. I don't know.
See the eyes, the nose, the mouth.
I'm terrible with stuff like that. I don't know what I'm looking at. Looks.
That was probably something sneaking up on that watermelon.
That might have been the one that Heather seen sticking his hand out.
Well, you know, this is so tough to talk about this stuff because all of us that know each other, you know, I talked to Flat Rock today, and the good thing about having 3 other people there, you can kind of confirm what was going on. You know, like you have Billy and Troy together, Noah and Gary, and you know somebody sitting with him. And it's like it doesn't happen to just one person, thank goodness. With hers, she's the only one that saw it, so I can't put words in her mouth. But whatever it was strange, and it was close to the watermelon, so it could have been a small animal or whatever. But the things that no, the dogs were chill, but we did have to give them some stuff that helped them, and they were having a good time. But they never reacted the first time to anything, which is odd. Now, Flat Rock's did. I think he said, I think Flat Rock's dog reacted pretty heavily to something one night.
John's not here to tell it.
One time I know.
John and Phyllis was at the conference.
Yeah.
And I had stepped up down the hall, and as I was coming back, John said there were 2 orbs right behind me.
Well, where you were, that was in the school, right, or in the hallway?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
hallway.
In
Yeah,
daylight, yeah. Oh,
yeah. He said
look,
I
he
walked,
said that all of a sudden I was walking back to the table, and all of a sudden he hollered. Everybody in there heard him and turned and looked. Said there was two orbs right behind me.
wow.
I walked up to Gary's camp one night about, I don't know, 2:30, gonna check on Gary, and he was on up above us there, kind of off to himself. So I wanted to just check on him, and I started to cross a little dirt path there, the road, and when I stepped into the road, something whistled twice. Well, I just stopped right quick, and I'm standing there looking around. Nobody's up. It wasn't but 5 of us there, and I took another step, and when I stepped that time, a whistle went off, and then the owls blowed up. So I kind of eased myself on back down. I didn't have a flashlight or nothing that night either. I'm out walking around pitch black dark. I kind of eased myself on back down. I heard his CPAP running, so I figured he was okay. I eased on back to camp. But it was little things like that happened the whole week we were there. I mean, the whole
Yeah,
week.
Well,
I was
Billy, you
telling him when
remember?
we got there, we were smelling that dead smell, and there was nothing dead around.
We had a couple of instances where we smelled things. Troy and I,
Oh,
we
Billy,
smelled.
before you say that, that
Yeah.
just reminded me. That's why it's good to talk about this stuff because sometimes there's so much that happens you forget. Do y'all remember we kept getting the kind of horse smell?
Yeah. Yes.
Every now and then it would come in from, and I was like, are people riding through here? Because it would be like fresh, like somebody, say a
If
few
you
horses
remember,
come through.
when you first smelled that, Troy and I had just walked up.
Yeah.
That smell followed us from the top of the mountain.
Maybe it was Billy.
Could have been, because I've done been there a few days.
but
we probably smelled worse than the horse when we left.
but I don't know what that means, but I do know it wasn't always from the same direction.
Well, I know.
One time it was coming from like Gary's area, hit me in the back of the head. Then the next time I noticed it, it's over here on the other side of the watermelon down the hill in the breeze, what little breeze there was. But it never was. And there could have been people. I mean, I don't know much about that park or whatever, but it was definitely a real strong. It wasn't a bad smell, but it smelled like horse. It was a horse.
Right. Well,
Well, we didn't have any horses there at Sunday was the last time we had horses there.
Okay, so there was
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm about lost on what day was.
You were there too long.
That was a long week. Yeah.
Sunday's when we went up there and picked up that trash. Where.
Yeah.
Billy, you remember the afternoon that Billy was up there doing his owl calls and got everybody upset there for a minute?
You mean Patrick?
Yeah, Patrick.
Oh yeah, I was sitting there laughing because I knew it was Pat making all that noise. I said, "That's Patrick. That ain't an owl." But now we had some owls when we first got there. You can ask Gary. The whippoorwills would start in, and those things would scream, and they'd scream all the way around us. And then,
after one of Patrick's calls, I heard another one that was off into the woods down past the gate down there.
Right, I don't doubt that at all. But yeah, it was stuff went on the whole week we were there.
You're not just kidding.
I left out about 1 o'clock on Saturday night, and I'll tell you, when Pat and Joe, they had been up at camp, and we'd been sitting around talking, and Flat Rock had come through for a little while, and he talked. He said he was going on to bed. I probably talked to Pat and Joe an hour or so, and they walked on down the hill. Well, I crawled up in the truck, was going to go to sleep, try to get a couple hours sleep, and I kept sitting there thinking about needing to be gone, need to go. And I said, well, I'm going to get out. And I didn't have a flashlight again. And I get out and I'm looking around and nothing is moving anywhere. I mean, it's just quiet. There's a couple little campfires about to burn out. And I said, man, I got to get this canopy down. I don't even have a light. All of a sudden, I heard a little pop out in the woods back down behind where Chad and Erica had parked. And you talk about tearing a camp down now. I put that canopy on the ground quick and slung that thing in the back of the truck. I got in the truck and I left town.
I heard you pull out.
Yep. It was, and that was all the way back. I don't even know where that GPS took me through that night, but all the way back down through the dirt roads, it was spooky as crap. Oh, I kept waiting for something just step out in front of me in a minute. But I think Jessica said the same thing. She said it was spooky coming down that backside. I don't know. I guess it's 6-7 miles through there, I guess. And
she actually saw something when she got on the pavement, though. So
yeah. I seen something the other day. She was talking about it. One of her shows. She was talking about what had happened to her down there. I didn't see anything, but it sure did have a strange.
It was a cross between a bear and a pig and something else.
Yeah, hyena, kind of what she explained. It kind of because she texted me the next day and asked me, did we have bears in that part of Alabama? And I said, well, occasionally we do. But she said, well, they didn't really built like a bear. She said, but what got her was when she got up close to it, it showed its teeth to her. And she said that kind of when it freaked her out. And the other one had its back to her. But I know where the spot is. I done went through there twice trying to look and see if I could catch something. And I will say this. It's right there at a friend of mine's property has had activity for years. So I just can't get him on YouTube or any of that stuff. They just think on him, his whole family.
Yes, Kraken
has had a lot of stuff going on their property over the years. So, so by her seeing that there, already knowing who owns the property in that area, and they've had a lot of stuff, very possible she may have seen something. So,
well, I wouldn't doubt it one bit. Not down in that part of the country.
By the way, Billy Schillings, congratulations.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Little rascal finally decided to get here.
What is it? Little boy?
Kid.
Huh? Yeah. Thank you. That's number 5. Yep, number 5.
Wait till you
say
get great.
One more little shadow thing, I guess you could call it, the night Roger and Harley was having fun.
What was that?
You know, when you and Harley was over there shining the lights in the woods, and I came over and joined y'all.
That was that was
Saturday
the same
night.
time. That was it Saturday night?
Yeah.
Well, was it Friday night that Saturday morning that Chad and Erica had that happen? We were out there also flashlights, so it kind of blends
Harley
together like Billy's talking about.
Tent. Harley had just set up his tent when I heard the tree snap and whatever it was run through the woods, and y'all got out with flashlights.
Yeah.
And I came over, and I went back, sat down in my car. I seen something go the road there and go by that canopy in front of your truck down into the woods.
Y'all, it ain't no telling. Excuse me, y'all. That place, I've been scared of it since last year, and I didn't feel that way this year. But it's like I almost didn't have time. Like something was happening, or Billy was coming up. Hey, tell me something happened. And then KDG, and then everybody was having something going on. I'm like, what? This place is crazy this year. And if you find a track or see something that you're not supposed to see, I don't care how used to it you are, it still kind of floors you a little bit, And we just got extremely lucky And I think it's because we saw the red lights in the woods. And that's when Kenny went and got the first thermal. Well, it was just all up. Because if that thing had come through as quick as it came through, if I'd had to grab the thermal and turned it on, got it going and got on it, we never would have had it. It just happened to show up while we were looking.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell y'all this. We've been going over thermal video, and the one that Kenny has, I don't know if he's still in here. When I had it and I told them it looked like something was on behind a tree with a right arm wrapped around it, there's about a minute of that, and you can tell there's something big behind these trees. You can't tell what it is, but it's definitely moving, and it's not just one spot. That's not definitive at all. But what was going on, he had just seen something walking on two legs, accidentally turned it off, and then handed it to me, went and got flat rock. So there's several things. We have a picture, and I've let a few people see it. The picture that flat rock snapped as I was looking at the face. There's something there. Of course, it's not like something you're going to see on the, HD channel or at all. But he said, we were going over it today. He said, Roger, it looks exactly how you were explaining it. If you look at the shape of the face and the nose area and all that, he said, you were describing that, and you've described this before we got this picture. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But if 100 people look at it, only 2 people are going to see what we're looking at. If that makes sense. And then this thermal video we have, it's not definitive like, oh man, that's a whatever, but there is movement and there's something big down there. We can't tell what it is, but that's why, people are like, why didn't you get a picture? Why didn't you get a clear this? Y'all know, every one of y'all know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And a lot of times you're not even thinking about that. You're not thinking about that phone. Your eyes.
I think I see something. I ain't worried about no camera.
Yeah.
I'm worried about where I'm getting ready to go. But
Yeah.
you talking about the picture you talking about, is that of something peeping around the tree?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so you can see the tree. You can see the grains in the tree. And what I think I'm looking at is a hand like this up against the tree. Just how those hands are cupped on those cars, vehicles,
Yes.
y'all got pictures of.
Mm-hmm.
It's cupped like this right here, and the wrist comes down, and this thing is looking out behind the tree. That's exactly what I told him. I said it looked like it's looking out the right side. And when he snapped that photo, Harley's the one that I didn't look at it for a while because I've been Bigfooted out. I've had to take 3 or 4 days away because there's so much happened. And I just hadn't really done anything. I'll come to people's shows and watch and stuff, but when I get like that, I have to back off and then start back over. But we have gone over some of the pictures, and that one particular picture, and I know it's tough, y'all. If you have to explain it to somebody, a lot of times you can't. But for us that were there, Flat Rock, he put the little thing around it. I'm like, yep, and I swear, y'all, he said, you remember you said on the show it looked kind of like Kane Michael. I'm like, yeah, I did. He said, that's kind of what that face looks like. I said, I know. And I'm just talking about the we all have different shaped faces, and to catch some of that, I still don't know what to think about it. I don't. And Billy had came and taken down. I saw the shower. There was a shower back there, but you took it down, right?
Yeah, I took that down Saturday morning because Sheridan was getting ready to leave.
Yes, and when we saw you down there, and was it Mark? I was talking to Mark, and there was somebody in the woods. He said, "Hold on." I said, "Yeah, I already seen that's somebody walking around." But you're on such alert there that any kind of movement you want to, make sure you check it out.
Yeah,
but
you
y'all
definitely want to pay attention.
Yeah, and I remember seeing the shower thing, and then Billy taking it down, and it seemed like if y'all know where that shower unit and curtain was, when Katie G looked over her right shoulder when I was pointing at the red light, it would have been right above that, probably 10, 15 foot above that thing. And it could have been further down in the woods, kind of where Chad and Erica were. But that's the direction from where that's the first one we saw was right where that would have been.
Well, that's where Stacy. That's where Stacy kept seeing something waving at her.
Yeah, there was something going on.
Right in that same area.
Anybody want to answer that question?
I just say hi.
Then what would you do? Yeah, I would probably be. You probably hear me screaming.
I say, let me get my camera.
Now,
There's
out of all the people, I would say Wendell would be worried about the camera. But you're gonna go Wendell Bigfoot.
Doggone right.
Booger Ben Wendell.
Yeah, but Wendell got Wendell this trip.
Yeah, I got it twice at least that I know of. You and Joe got me. Yeah, he sent me that video with it where he got me too.
Yeah, Chad, I heard you when y'all.
Yeah, Gene, they did.
You're right about that, Gene. 2 or 3 times right there where we were at.
They've done that at about every outing we've ever had down there, going back several years. They've come into camp late at night, walking around.
Billy,
I mean, it's ongoing down there. It's about the same thing every time you have an outing down there. Something happens.
I was always glad when Gary Spikes got there. I done had about all I wanted to stand around out there by myself because it's just got a different feel to it down there.
Yeah.
You know, it's an entirely different vibe.
Is it?
It is.
Is it year round, Mark? Anytime you go, same thing.
Most of the outings we've had down there have been in the spring, like May, April. I think we had one in March down there one time, and then we've had a couple in the fall. And both of them times, stuff would always go on. I mean, you know, last year you came in May when I had that small one down there.
Yeah.
Joe and Pat was there.
That's the one I wasn't invited to.
Huh?
I said, yeah, that's the one I wasn't invited to. I remember.
You're always invited, Billy.
The big one was in October. That's when we had 121 people.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, they.
But Billy,
yeah.
Was there anything put on that log over there by me other than that bacon?
A watermelon.
Well, both of them got gone. And
I think Dog heard all that get gone.
Yeah, I think that's what I was fixing to say. I think Dog heard it. It was good meeting him too.
Yeah,
he's on there now.
Yeah.
He might want to tell his story because I think he got a fresh understanding before he left too.
Well, Dog, I tell you what, right there's the link. If you want to jump on here and tell your story, I'll put you up here.
There's not too many people who go to that place that don't have something happen. I mean, not every. I'm gonna say, well, every time I've been there, something went on. I can't.
I was gonna say every time I've ever been there, something. It's just got a strange vibe to it. It really does. I mean, even Harley, he'll talk about it as much as he's been in the woods, how strange it felt down there.
Yeah, he talked about it all night last night on the Texas front porch.
It's something different about it. I can't say what it is or what it's not, but I know as soon as I turn and start up that hill, before we get to actually where we're camping at, I start getting some kind of feeling. Something's watching, something's looking, something's happening. And I don't know, you know, I've never been in there and I've only been a couple of times, but every time I've ever been, it's been something go on. And I'm talking about within an hour or so of being there, something happens. Yeah. And it might not be nothing but a rock or a smell, but you know, something's going on.
But Billy, you know, we all talk about this all the time. We've had stuff happen to us, and I think sometimes we get used to it, but a daggum rock being thrown at you is a pretty big deal.
I want
No.
one
You know what I
thrown
mean?
at me where I can pick it up and have one.
Well, and what I mean, Billy, I'm not getting on to Billy. I'm just saying, some of this stuff is pretty amazing. Sometimes we're like, oh, well, it was just an orb came by and singed the hair off my eyebrows. You know, we're getting so used to this crap. we don't really like finding a track. That's one of the most incredible things you can do. Y'all found tracks.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about that's Sherry's story. Maybe I'll not. Yeah, I won't say nothing about that. She can tell that story.
The one good thing about this trip, nobody went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Ken, Blackie, if y'all want to jump in there, you can go to that link and click on there, and I'll add y'all to it too.
Well, I can
Or
jump out.
anybody else that was there. Or anybody else that was there.
Well, that's the thing. We get to talking about it like this, and you remember stuff that happened that you didn't think was too important, but the time might be important. You know, when I realized that Chad and Erica had something going on at the same time as Harley's girls are freaking out, that's a pretty good little piece of information to have, you know, because we're right on that same woods line.
Yep.
But I don't know why. Normally I'll look at my phone, and I was using my phone, but I looked at my watch and it said 2:12, and I'm thinking Harley's message was 15 minutes prior to that. Something woke me up, and that puts it in the same time frame. And I know I keep harping on that, but that's a kind of a big deal. You have an activity all along that woods line there, and it's not that far. But for people that be up and with their flashlights looking around because they're hearing stuff, or you know, a vehicle's bumped or whatever, I mean, that's pretty
That's the night
amazing.
Harley came down. He came down to where I was camped at and was talking about all that. Said the girls had seen something and everybody was upset. And I don't know, I had to be 2:30-ish, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, it was when things start happening, it seems like down there when things start happening, it'll be several people in close proximity to where the first thing happens. They hear something or they see something or I can tell who that is.
That's Ken.
Mr.
Hey,
Ken,
buddy.
what's up?
Oh, my buddy, brother Ken.
Hey, y'all.
How's
How
it
you
going,
doing,
brother?
buddy?
Ken,
Doing good, brother.
You want to tell them about the thermal that came off of yours, Ken?
I'm
The what? I didn't hear what he said.
can you hear me okay? I'm getting some
Yeah.
feedback.
I can.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Uh-oh, Hillary said it's hailing, I guess, where she's at. Be careful.
Okay, I'll try.
But that thermal you got, you know, it's like I said, you can't make out definite shapes or anything, but it's something definitely big down there behind that clump of trees. Looks like snow. Oh God.
We're supposed to start back getting the thunderstorms back tomorrow.
Ugh, I hate those.
And it's been hot here today. I think it went up to 97 degrees here today. So it's been
I
hot.
looked at 94 earlier. It probably got hotter.
We got about the same weather, Mark, up here, Mark.
Yeah.
About the same thing. It's been terrible. I think Troy and them have been really catching it over in Georgia.
Yeah,
well, I'm cool today. Only 88 right now.
Oh, man.
I've been having one or two rain or storms during the day.
Well, it tried to make a cloud up here a while ago, and it just done a bunch of thunder, but it never rained. But it's supposed to really start back tomorrow. So and it's supposed to bring the temperatures back down too. So that'll be nice, you know. And Ken left us a minute, so
Yeah, I don't
Looks
know
like
what
he-
happened. But
he may be trying to reboot or something. He kept saying he was having something happen. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't
I
make out what he was saying either.
me neither.
But it's definitely the place has always been a hotbed, and the person that turned me on to it was Tal Banco, and or Billy White, what his real name was. He's the one that really turned me on to that place, and because he came to research some private property about 4 miles south of there, and he followed
yes,
that creek up, because there's two creeks that form in there, and they form what they call Little Hatchet Creek. And that Little Hatchet Creek goes through that private property where he was researching. And he just got up one morning and walked all the way up that creek to that campground. That's how far that man walked that day. And he said the whole time they was paralleling him. Every now and then they'd whooping, they was doing tree knocks on him. But when he got to the campground, he said one of them roared out. And he knew then he done stepped into something. So he just turned and went back. He said one or two of them paralleled him all the way back to the private property. And that's when me and him went to talking. He said they're running that creek back and forth. And there's a road in there that goes all the way through there. It used to come out down there by them people's house, but you can't go all the way through now. They got a big dirt pile about halfway through there. And during non-hunting season, they lock
hey
that gate.
sister, hey Jack,
Hey, Chad.
Chad.
Mark, I got a question for you. Is Holland's got ley lines there?
I think there's a ley line, and then you got the 33rd parallel, which is
Well, I know it's on 33rd parallel. I looked that up, but I didn't know if it had ley lines or not.
they say a lot happens around the 33rd parallel. I ain't never figured out. There's a guy that Miss V had on that I was going to talk to because he lives on that 33rd parallel in South Carolina. And if you go to looking at the 33rd parallel, there's a lot of weird stuff about it. And some of the pyramids are lined up with it. Mounds lined up with it. About that. And it's 6 miles south of Sylacauga, and it goes right through the middle of Hollins right there.
Wow.
Well, Brown Springs, Oklahoma, and where we go in southeast Oklahoma is all on 33rd parallel. And we have activity as much or more than Hollins.
Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube shows on the 33rd parallel and everything that happens all over the world.
Yeah. Well, it goes through Egypt and parts of Israel and through Iraq, Iran.
Yep.
Goes on over, I think, through Vietnam and Korea, I think. It goes on through Texas, I think New Mexico, Arizona, California. So what I've read about it and then just living here, everything that happens here, it's strange. There's something about it. There is something about it,
I bet if we did some investigating, that where they had that battle with the rock apes in Vietnam would be on the 33rd parallel.
Gary, I think I read something about that it was on the 33rd parallel. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's where I first heard about the 33rd parallel.
Right.
I'm just guessing, but I'd be willing to bet that that's the case.
So I guess we need to do some more digging in the 33rd parallel.
I guess I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll have to work on that one for a show then. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, there's a good idea there, Chad.
There we go.
Well, just remember when you do it, there was a lady, only person recorded history hit by a meteorite right here.
Yep.
That's right.
I mean, that's very odd. That ain't something that happens every day. So, and a lot of other crazy stuff, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they found pyramids in Talladega National Forest, eventually with LiDAR and stuff.
well, I'll say this: there's a spot, not in the forest, but over here on the western side of the county, and I've talked to Ken about it. And if we ever get a chance, I'm gonna carry him and show him to him. But I'm gonna swear that the hill looks like a pyramid, and it sits off to itself. It's not joined, and there's two creeks that come around each side of it. And every time I go down, of course, it's on private property. Every time I go down there and I see that hill, I said, "Man, that thing, it's got to be man-made, just how the shape of it." And
yeah.
I know nature can do some stuff, but this here is just odd looking, and it's in an odd spot. I mean,
Yeah.
But nature can also cover a lot of things very fast.
Very true.
Hey, Mark, going up 431 towards Gadsden up there, there's a mountain up there. Looks like it might be one.
It's very possible. Around Anniston, there was mounds there. And
Yeah, I know that one down there behind Lowe's that they had looking like a mohawk for so long.
yeah, that one. And, a lot of people said that was just a big hill, but when you look at that thing, I mean, it had an odd shape to it. And then, of course, when they went to digging the dirt out of it and stirred up everybody, because they were digging into burial mounds, and there's no telling what was pulled out of there that we don't know about. But I'm glad the Creek Indians went to Raising Cane about it and had it stopped. They finally stopped them.
And I hear there's some over at Coldwater too.
Yeah, there's some oddities over there. And then right there in Anniston, you got that snake effigy that's made out of rock on top of Skeleton Mountain there. It's on the old Fort McClellan Army base. And for a long time, they kept that quiet. The Army owned that so many years, so nobody was allowed to go in there. Well, when they shut down Fort McClellan back in the late 90s, and they turned that into a refuge in their part of it, where people can hunt and go walk. And I think people started walking in there and found that thing, and part of it got destroyed one time. They think the Army was doing something up there. But I've seen good pictures of it, and it's definitely like the snake effigy in Ohio. Except one in Ohio is made out of dirt. This one here is made out of rock. And
Yeah, People's Ohio. Yep, been there.
yeah.
Yeah, all along that military road up on top of the mountain going down to that, there's rock walls all the way down through there.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna jump off here and let y'all open up a space. Dog might want to come on. I've seen him back on again.
No, he chickened out.
Well,
he don't want to be associated with us yet.
I doubt that. Come on.
Hey,
He
y'all.
won't even let me tell him his real name.
I got something weird. It may not mean anything, but somebody we know's got a podcast that's question everything. So anyway, there's a hill that I see on the way to Petersburg. And several times I thought that's odd. It's out by itself and it looks pyramidish, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't think nothing much about it, but every time I'd see it coming back from hunting, I'd be like, that's just odd. Well, Peyton was with me one day. I was driving and he said, don't that hill look like a pyramid? I'm like, oh my God. I said, I think that every time I come through here. And so we were in, like I said, I don't know. I feel like our timelines are off, our historical timelines. And it hit me that Cornersville, Tennessee, which is the address here where this hill would be, was originally called Marathon. It wasn't Cornersville, Tennessee. And I looked up the Marathon tied to the pyramids. They're held in Egypt. You know, the Marathon in Luxor and the Marrakech pyramids, half marathon. And so that was a big part of their culture, was the marathons. And I don't know what it means yet. It may not mean anything, but that it goes from seeing that hill on private property. And then now I'm wondering why they named it Marathon originally. So that'll give me something to check into.
Yeah, definitely.
But nothing's by accident, I don't think.
No.
Well, if you go look, like at Memphis, Tennessee, or Cairo, Illinois,
right,
these places with Egyptian names, and there's full of mounds in those areas.
Yep.
You know, up and down that Mississippi River. And here in Alabama, we got a little place called Little Egypt. There's a mound there. Is it? There's a mound there. So, you know, I don't think people's just going, well, we're going to call it because, you know, pyramids. I think there's more to it.
Yeah.
It's like Tennessee. They say there's pyramids in Tennessee. They say some of them's under them lakes now. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but they said that some of them hills were actually pyramids, and when they backed up like Nickajack and Tellico Plains and all them, they backed them up over them. So there's no telling what's been lost. I mean, here in Alabama, we've backed up a lot of lakes, and I know there's towns under these lakes and communities. And
Sure.
you know, so there's no telling what's been covered. But yet we're looking at stuff, I think, that's been here for thousands of years, and we just
with the new technology like LiDAR, where they can go up in a drone and take a scan of the surface and look under the foliage and all that. That right there was a huge leap. And there's a Facebook group, I don't even know what it's called, that I'm part of. It might be a LiDAR thing, but they show pictures all the time of where they're going, you know, just where they live at. And there's all kind of structures, old structures, that you can't be in the field with it and look and see it. But if you get up above it, and that LiDAR, you can tell exactly what it was. Go ahead.
Sorry,
Well, you know, we're going to Blackie's side of things. You know, you hear Kane Michael bring up the mud floods, and you bring up this other thing, and like how this stuff might be formed in days instead of thousands of years. And you don't want to be one of those theorists a lot of times, but dadgum, they keep hiding stuff from us. Why? You know, a lot of this might be tied together that I think we all feel that way. Some of us don't know why, some of us might. I'm trying to figure it out. But the more that comes to light, the less shocking it is to a lot of, you know, like I'll see something nowadays that somebody told me 25 years ago, and I'm like, oh, well, that's what he was talking about. You know, a lot of people don't have those type friends to kind of spread that, you know, what we think are stories. Now we're finding out it's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's, you know, again, history is told to us by people we're supposed to trust, but what are they hiding from us? Again, this even comes back to Bigfoot. You know, what are they? If people drew these things on caves and on teepees and whatever through history, then why were they drawing them if they didn't exist? That's why I question it. You know, and same with the pyramids. We have a lot of ancient Egyptian symbology, I think is what you say, here in the United States on stuff. You know, the Masons. The Freemasons adapted a lot of that stuff in our culture. So you kind of wonder why the Egyptian, symbolism. I don't understand it.
Well, you go to the Centennial Park in Nashville. When I was little, I'm like, oh, cool. They built an exact replica of the Parthenon here in Nashville.
There
You know,
go.
then I hit 50 years old. I'm like, oh wait, why did they build an exact replica of the Parthenon in Nashville? What did they build it on top of? What's under it? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
But
that's a good question.
hide it in plain sight, right?
Yep.
But my mind gets full too quick to get into too many questions. I have to slowly work my way into it. So I don't know. It seems like, you know, we're there meeting and talking and cutting up and having a big time. And then something happens that we talk about for weeks after, you know, and we get together and we're like, hey, what did you see? Oh crap. Well, that was about the time this was happening to us over here. And Gary, where he was camped, Greg was telling us that the last time y'all had a meet and greet there, he was looking that way, talking to JR, and he saw a red light behind JR's head where Gary's tent would have been over in that area. And it did the same thing that the one KDG and I know it was us two. Somebody else might have seen it, but it started out about like a dime or so, and it was going across, and it tripled or quadrupled in size for a split second or two, you know, and then it went back down, and then it continued up. And that's when Ken said, Ken's sneaking in and out of here. He takes every opportunity to scare me as he can. He said, well, you know, he's dry, y'all. Ken's funny, but he's got to open up to you. But he's sitting there, all seriousness. My blood pressure's probably up. I'm probably running 150 here and pulse. And, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It might be a star. No, wait a minute. It's going up, straight up. And Ken goes real dry. He said, maybe it's climbing a tree. Shut up. I don't want to hear stuff like that, because it might be true, you know. But I was surprisingly, I was animated as this stuff was happening, but I was surprisingly calm too while it was going on. I think afterwards, when it gets me, you know, when I get home and get to thinking about it, like how vulnerable you are sitting there, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I felt when we found the handprints, the palm print and everything. I'm kind of like, you know, something was looking in the back of our vehicle, whether it be a very big human or with big hands, or, you know, whatever. It still freaks the crap out of me because something was looking in the back of our vehicle.
Well, I'm not an expert at all, but for 2 years, part of my job was to send in good legible fingerprints to TBI, the FBI, and for the Marshall County Sheriff's Department. I had to make 3 copies back then. And if one of them was bad, they'd throw it out and I'd get in trouble. So doing fingerprints all that time, the first thing I noticed with yours, now I don't have a frame of reference. If I was there, it would be a lot better. But just touching with the fingerprints just like that, and them being that big, first off, I think for one of us to make them that big, we would have to roll them side to side.
Agreed.
And they become misshapen. They don't stay the same shape because you're actually rolling. That looks like a straight up thumbprint. Now, here's another thing, y'all. On Chad and Erica's pictures I have, you can see this a little bit here, but if you look around the edges, you see where it's not smooth. Some of that might be your dermal ridges and stuff like that, but I swear on some of Chad and Erica's, I see some of the greasy hair prints that may be overlapping on the fingers. And if you look at those again, Chad, go back and look, and where you see, it looks like there might be hair, like on the backside, but touching the car.
Right.
So look at that, and it'll look different. It'll have that. You'll go from having the greasy prints that look just like a fingerprint, but then you'll have the extra around the edges. And I don't see a lot of it there on the bottom, but it wouldn't make much sense there, because that does look like a thumb. And you look at, either it's that or it's a palm.
Yeah,
that's big.
That was big.
That's big.
Yeah, the forward emblem there. Yeah, that's huge. So I can't really tell what that is. Maybe it is a palm. If it is a palm, then that hairy down there at the bottom left and the bottom very center, that that looks like hair to me. Your thumbprint, if it was just a straight up thumbprint or a palm print, it'll have better edges on it. And I don't know if I'm explaining that right to y'all.
I got you. Yeah, I figured.
But go back and look at it. There's a couple of y'all's that definitely looks like some hair touched the surface also.
Well, I think the thing that did it for me, you know, when we saw it, I went and got Billy. Billy told me to go get Flat Rock. Flat Rock instantly started taking pictures of it and then talked about the oil. And we, you know, Sunday it rained and we drove all the way to the Lodge cast iron skillet place in Tennessee, and they were still there. Even through all the rain, they were still there. So it was pretty wild.
It's you know, and as soon as we start carrying DNA kits and stuff, all this stuff will stop. You know what I'm saying? it's like, wait a minute now. And y'all, since we're sitting on the porch just throwing stuff at the wall, maybe that's why stuff does happen to some of us, because we're not that into it. You know, I don't know if these things are smart as some of people say they are. You know, I know you sound crazy. If you try to say anything, if you try to speculate, or if you try to put A, B, and C or connect the dots, you always are going to sound nuts with this stuff. You know, but you still have to think about it.
Absolutely.
Well, if you respect them, and like me, I don't go hunting them. I don't take pictures. I respect them. So they come out to me. I don't have to go hunting.
Right.
Every time I go camping, they're around.
Yep. So, I mean, and you find that to be true with people who live with them. They're finding a handprint's not a big deal to them because it happens all the time. To us, it is a big deal, you know, but and it depends on where you're at in your journey too. So like Mark, with all his experience and the stories he's heard and all that, he may be sitting there thinking, Roger, shut up. That's stupid.
But you have to look at this so many different ways, Roger. I mean, we can't all have the same mindset that this is what we're seeing. We all have to question everything. And that's how you learn. Learn and get a better understanding. You know, if we all looked at it the exact same way, nobody's going to learn anything. So me being with the least experience here, I'm still the doubter. So for people to come over to Erica and I and look at these prints that were on our window, I'm like, well, I know I didn't touch it. I know for a fact we left the back window dusty, the back of the SUV dusty for that reason. If something was to happen, that was the dustiest place on our car. Okay. So Saturday morning, we see that there's prints on our car. I'm going to be the guy that's like, well, let me see. Could it have been me? Could it put my finger up next to it? Was nowhere close to the size of my
no.
So, and or there was nobody with hands that size. So now I'm like, okay, let's bring other people into this and see what they say. And that's what I think this, you know, something like that, the groups we had and the, you know, people with the experiences they've had, that it's good to have them around for that reason. They can come up and say, well, look, you know, I've had handprints on my car before, you know, in fact, in one of the pictures, I put my fingerprints up in the upper left just so I could compare them looking at them. Right. And they were nowhere close. So it's a learning experience for everybody. It's always going to be every time you have a new experience.
Yeah.
I feel.
And did y'all see, we got Win Clan Fonzie coming here. Did y'all see him do that little comb back right there with his hair? Hey, look at you. There you go. He's dangerous. Oh, I know. Katie,
I don't know what was wrong. I couldn't get on my laptop. I kept hearing echo. Everybody was echoing.
Gremlins and boogers.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my son over here because I'm a tech dummy.
Well, what it is Gary's not in chat, so he holds everything together.
Yes, you got that right.
Wendell, this is one show I don't have to work all night. Wendell ain't made me a mod.
Oh, there you go. Shouldn't have said that.
Well, you told me not to, Gary.
I did not tell you not to.
Brother
He
Gary,
said,
how
"Just
many
too
shows?
busy."
How many shows you doing, Brother Gary?
112.
I have no idea. Sometimes 4 and 5 at a time.
Yeah, I've seen
I,
you doing. I've
I,
seen that a little bit.
I know I've skipped around, be like, oh, dang, Gary's in here too.
Hey, look,
Yep.
guys, I'm
And
gonna
he's
get
got
off
the
of
Blue
here.
Ranch.
I'm gonna get off of here. Erica has dinner ready.
Oh, I'll be
What
there.
y'all
Indeed,
got?
Chad.
Maybe we'll all come over.
Yeah.
Head on out.
Tell Erica I said hi.
Shall do for sure. Have a good night, fellas.
See ya.
Good night,
Cheers,
y'all.
bud.
Be safe up there.
So, Ken, was that your first
Yeah.
trip to Hollands?
That was my first time I've been to a camp out there, but I've been there several times.
Have there been any, to your knowledge, and Mark might know this, somebody said there was a battle close by.
I don't know. That's what I've been wondering.
Yeah, but I haven't checked into it yet. But the guy that told me, sometimes he's spot on with things and sometimes he's half a world away. So I'll have to look and see.
Mark, did you tell me that there was a mound somewhere close to there?
There's a mound on private property not too far from there. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you had told me something.
That's not one of the real big ones. It's a smaller one.
Yeah.
That's there. I want to say during the Creek Indian War, there was some small battles happened right in that area. And of course, the big battle that happened there on Hillaby Creek was, when they came to, when they left and went to Horseshoe Bend, there was some skirmishes happened in there. But I was trying to think of any other battles that may have happened. I know that I don't think there was any Civil War stuff, but I do think there were some small battles, during the Creek Indian War in that area, because that was a hot spot. A lot of towns in that area. Of course, back over here, a lot of towns. So, Yeah, excuse me. Sister was aggravating Rebecca, and I was laughing a minute. She done got over here with me now.
What was your takeaway, Ken? Like, I know it was kind of wild, everything that happened, but when you got home and got to think about everything, I mean, a lot of us have a respect for Hollands, and I don't know if I'll ever go back. I say that every time. I don't know if I'll ever go back but
you will.
Yeah, you get kind of drawn. It's weird. They're like, "Are you going?" No, I'm not going. Come on, let's go. But
I never felt, when we were seeing everything going on with the orb and everything.
Yeah.
And then when I saw whatever it was that was walking, trying to hit record, but I hit the wrong button, ended up turning it off. But but all during that time, I never felt any uneasiness or, no creepy feeling or anything.
Same here. That's odd. I mean, that was, I think we were focused on, like I was talking to Flat Rock today, and I'm like, you remember how antsy I was getting, like, Flat Rock, is this thing on? Is it on? It needs to be on. It needs to be on like right now. I said, I was trying to hurry you without making you mad, because we were in a bad spot where it's dark, we couldn't see anything. But he did have the wherewithal to snap a picture, so that helps a little. But I'm with you. I didn't feel, the only couple times I felt exposed, late at night when the dogs had to get out of the truck to go to the bathroom. Yeah. And they would run over to the edge of the woods, and I'm like, man, if something grabs them, I mean, it'll drag me through the woods too, because I got this wrapped around it. But that's the only couple times that I felt uneasy. Versus last time, the whole time I was there, which was just a few hours, I felt something at my back and all around me at all times. Like, this is the weirdest, it's not really, it's like a sensation. It's hard to explain. You say, oh, I had a gut feeling or whatever. When we pulled on that place, I told y'all before, I stopped. We just pulled in, never had been there before. And I said, I just want to let you know, Heather, I've got something going on. I got uneasiness going on. I feel a little sick, like some kind of energy just hit. And I'll let her know stuff like that. And then, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds later, that was gone. But this time it was more welcoming feeling. But I did put that cross on, my dad's cross, and said a prayer before we left the house, for protection and all that. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know whether that was power suggestion in my mind or it was something really, really real. To me, it felt real. So
Yeah, we had prayer too before we went over there.
I don't think you can ever go wrong doing
No, not at all. But that was the first time I've been there at night. I've been there during the day before a few times, but that was the first time I'd been there at night. But I don't know if it was just because, it was a big group of us or whatever. But even with everything happening, I didn't feel any creepy crawlies or any bad feelings. I was sat there in the chair for a while. Thing is, I can't get up and run nowhere anyway. So
yeah,
it's gonna get me. It's gonna get me.
I'm going. Yeah, right here is where we're gonna have the final battle, right?
Yeah,
I can't get around quick either. You're right.
I'm not going anywhere in a hurry.
Just gotta see who's going to outrun who.
Yeah, I thought I could outrun Wendell at one point. I don't think I can now.
Yeah, I'll be the one that gets got.
I got there's a creek. There's an Indian chief called Yaholomiko. Was that Creek or was he Seminole?
Yeah, that's Creek. Now some of the Seminole were creeks that went down into Florida after the Creek War. And, but yeah, Yaholomiko that's Creek or Muskogee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say
right across the back when I
born there
thought I was Indian and doing Indian research.
Yeah. You could be. There's a whole lot of people that are.
According to the Ancestry DNA, I'm not.
That happened to me too.
Always go by that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's what Ken was telling me. He said because of the database being incomplete, basically, because you have to be tested by that company to be in their information. So if like with mine, my tree was so broken up and like people way over here and it looked like people didn't exist, but the reason they didn't exist is because the information didn't. And that's how it now with way Ken does it, it's a little different. And he said you can look at DNA markers and kind of tell what you're looking for. Is that right?
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, you can also there's a website called GEDmatch. If you upload your results to GEDmatch, it doesn't cost anything. You just have to set up a profile account. But they've got a bigger database on GEDmatch, and so they'll take your raw data, and you can use different programs they have on there that will kind of reconfigure your ethnicity results, and it will pull out a lot more of the Native American than what you're going to find on Ancestry or 23andMe.
And I can't get into my 23andMe since they went bankrupt. I tried today. They actually sent me an email, so I'm like, okay, well maybe it's back up, and so I'm doing something wrong. I can't access it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I've heard some other folks say that too.
But all of these subjects we've talked about, a lot of y'all have known y'all's heritage. There's a lot of people out there that have no clue where they actually come from. And
yeah,
to me, just, you sending those pictures of my great grandpa, I was floored. And what was funny, I don't know I think I've told some of y'all, I was excited about it. I called Greg, and then Kumbo called and was on the three-way, and I was telling them about my family that you had found, and I started naming them off, and Kumbo's like, hold up. Is this spelled that way? Yes. and this and, he's like, oh my god. He said, I just got the chili bumps. They were some of his family too.
Yeah.
And I said, well, now wait a minute. These two guys moved to Texas and became Texas Rangers. Oh yeah, I've got a great uncle or something, and we're kind of, and when we talk about synchronicity and things happening, if you hadn't have told me that right then I wouldn't have had that conversation an hour later with them and found out, that there may be some more kin folks out there. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's how Flat Rock that's how I found out Flat Rock and I were cousins, distant cousins.
Yeah, and didn't you say you thought you might have found a common ancestor between us? Maybe.
I think I did. My problem is when I'm doing research, I see thousands of names.
Yeah.
And then I have to, I can't remember. I have to go back and look before I can, because I don't know. Because I'm like right now, I'm working on 3 or 4 different ones.
Yeah.
And I was working on Misty's for her, and Sherry and Donna. And I got to a Smith. Misty, I don't know if she's listening still, but I got to a Smith, and well, y'all know the Smith name is going to be thousands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the Smiths in this area, a lot of those are Cherokee. So I kind of hit a brick wall right there. I hadn't been able to get past this Smith yet to figure out which one. It's a James Smith. So, Misty, if you have any idea who James Smith was, let me know. But
my mother's grandfather was George Benjamin Franklin Smith. He came from Carrollton, Georgia.
Is that right?
Yep.
Ain't it funny how this one subject turns into multiple subjects?
Oh yeah.
It never ceases to amaze, to use that term. I'll get off after we do a show or a visit or watch somebody's show. I'm like, how did we all get into that? And it's just, but it's so much fun. I mean, to find out the connections or even.
But it is all connected. That's the difference. It is all connected.
Yeah. Even just the small town history to me is cool. Learning about some of the small towns, but.
Yeah, you're right, Roger, because there's more than boogers that's brought us together.
Yeah. I think so.
It's, we don't know how many of us are cousins or related and, share native ancestry. And, I think the Lord has brought us together too.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It feels like it.
Yeah. Because, it's just like we all, see each other as family, and we would do anything for one another.
And so y'all have noticed, like, if I took and picked 10 of us and threw us in a football stadium somewhere, we're probably going to be uncomfortable. But it's like most of the people we actually meet have the same attitudes and makeups and morals and value, and like nobody's. It's just easy, and I don't know if I've ever been around people like that before that I felt really comfortable around. So,
yeah, I haven't, other than some folks at church, my church family.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
Well, somebody else jump on here and tell what. I know Patrick never did. Did he? Bud, did y'all have anything happen? I know Bud had some amazing deer sausage. Did you get to try that, Mark?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got a bag of it. It was very good.
Wow, it was good.
I missed the deer sausage, Bud.
I got yours, Ken.
I thought so.
It was good. It was really good. I just let
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
You can have mine next time.
I got some rum cake though, Miss Verby's rum cake.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, that's
that stuff is good.
That's good.
It sure is.
Uh-oh. What in the world happened to him, man?
What is it?
Something popped up on my screen.
I had something trying to get you to
Sister.
buy something.
Sister. All right. Well, darn, what? It keeps doing it. Uh-oh.
I was just glad Gary got back in one piece.
Going on?
Man,
Let me Xing it out.
Yeah, but I run out of deer sausage. I hate it.
I ran out quick.
Roger,
Me too.
I actually in pretty good shape after going down there. That camping trip actually helped me.
Helped you out? Yeah. Well, Jeff, I'm going to gain 10 pounds from watching chat. That's from watching your hand, probably, not watching chat. You like me.
Yeah,
Got
Bud
stuff
says
get
they had. Bud says they had something hit their truck twice Saturday night.
Saturday night?
Yeah, but he said they were parked under pine trees,
Okay.
so he can't say. Yeah, he was telling me about that. You know, it could have been
Well, I wasn't.
pine cones falling or whatever, but
I wasn't parked under a pine tree, and twice I had what sounded like a giant rock hit my truck.
Yeah, that was loud.
Yeah, Wendell heard it too.
Did it come from the woods area or from behind you or?
I don't know. I was down at Wendell's camp, and
okay.
we heard it.
Oh, okay.
But
Wendell's up in the middle of the night drinking coffee, so we went over there. But there's no pines around me.
We don't know.
Wendell, there's no pine trees above me.
That's right. We did look at that, didn't we?
Yeah. It hadn't have been thrown.
Yeah.
But I got so many hail dents in my truck that you couldn't tell if it was new or not.
Oklahoma trucks comes with a hail
Yeah.
already.
Well, hey, you heard what happened at Dogman Ranch, didn't you? Last fall we were at Dogman Ranch and a tree fell on my truck.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Well, you noticed me and Greg got there about the time the storm hit, and Mark and Becca was sending out messages, and we went down to the end of the road, took a right, and got out there in an open spot. I was scared to death when them big pine trees were going to blow over on us.
Oh Lord.
Hey, Wood Santa Claus said you wasn't going to get nothing, so I didn't send you nothing.
And Robin, I want some peanut brittle. Peanut brittle and those candy apples. The old style candy apples you used to get at Gatlinburg with the candy apple red hard shell. Man, I love those.
Aunt Verby's rum cake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good stuff.
They find some saltwater taffy. You can't hardly find it no more.
Do they still make it over there in Gatlinburg?
They sit there and turn it.
Yeah, it's on the way. Yeah,
I think that's the last time I ever had any was in Gatlinburg.
Yeah, me too. I mean, homemade candy. I'll tell you something else, y'all. You talk about candy. When we ordered for the store, you'd order from a middleman and whatever. Sometimes you get the real fresh stuff. And I'll tell you what, there's not much on this planet better than a fresh Goo Goo cluster. When you get one that's fresh, oh no. Oh, it's really good.
Well, I'll tell you what, you go over there into the Amish country and get some of that German bologna. Then you'll have some good eats.
Oh man. I would take, we have the Mennonites over here. They make of course all the breads and stuff, but I really like the goat cheese for some reason. I don't know. I like it. I won't eat it all the time, but I'll get some of it, and sounds like it would be good on that, Gary.
Oh, I used to go over there to I can't think of the name of the town. It's right up there by the Kentucky line in Tennessee. And we would step across into Kentucky to the Amish. And that German bologna was, oh man.
I bet.
I don't like bologna, but I like that.
You like that? What'd you say, Mark?
I see, the Amish got a big community over at Lawrenceburg.
Yep, Etheridge.
I used to know some of them pretty well. We used to always buy a lot of candy from them.
Yep, it's there's still a lot of people over there, and the first time I pulled up over at the Walmart in Lawrenceburg, I was talking to my dad on the phone. I said, "You ain't gonna believe this. What is it?" I said, "They got a place to hook your horses up and feed them, and everything out here outside of Walmart. You know, hitching posts."
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, they even got a lane for them built on the side of the highway where they can run their buggies. And I used to know some of them, the Millers up there, and they were furniture makers. Then we know the guy who made the harness.
Yeah, I mean, I've never stopped at many of them's houses, but my uncle used to go over there and come back with a truckload of vegetables and goodies. And I've been to some of the shops, but I don't think that's the same thing.
Now, it's best to pull up in their yard. They'll have little signs out on the road, and they'll say eggs for sale, milk, or it'll say candy or whatever. You know, each one of them does different things. And we always used to look for that coconut candy they would make. And you talking about good stuff,
Greg.
boy.
I bet.
Well, I'll tell y'all something. The camp out was great, but the food at Greg's was better. I stopped at Greg's for overnight, and it was better.
Well,
Greg's food is always great.
He'll break it out now.
I'm gonna have to go back up there next time he's cooking something and get a hold to it.
Oh, he fixed deer sausage and deer steak, and oh man, was it good! And I don't like deer anymore.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed spending the night at Greg's.
And nobody brought me a plate.
Back up. I left out of Greg's just to get it and still didn't beat the storms. I left a day early because of the storms, and they still caught me.
Yeah. And they didn't leave either. They stayed here too.
I'm glad they stayed with y'all. I'm tired of them up here. We've had the wettest spring we've had in 20 years. Everything is flooded.
It's been crazy.
Same
I
here.
stay a lot for Oklahoma too.
But last year wasn't far behind this year.
Yeah, we've had enough rain here. We could have filled up both of Mark's ponds, I think.
Well, it ended our drought. We were in a bad drought, and it ended it.
And it's supposed to start back this week, and I think I seen it in the forecast for the next 7 days. I said, well, here we go again. So.
I hope not here. I got to start cutting hay next week.
Well, don't overdo yourself, Billy.
Who's Billy?
Gary.
I saw
the thing about cutting hay is I'm riding an air-conditioned tractor.
Well, that's a good thing then. But it's still rough out there bouncing around and all that.
Yeah, that bothers me, but still it's got to be done. And I need to do it. I've sat here and gained 50 pounds, actually 60 pounds since that surgery. Maybe it'll bounce some of that weight off of me.
That stuff's hard to get rid of.
You ain't just a kid.
Just don't let it bust your stitches open again.
Yeah. Now, I thank everybody for the prayers. I've actually not bled for a month.
Hey, Rachel.
Cool. Yeah, she asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm on Wendell Show. And she found your channel because I didn't send her a link.
It's still kind of hard to find. If you pull in Bigfoot 911, you're going to get over 100 channels.
That's the reason I switched it to Wendell Bigfoot 911.
That makes it easier.
Yeah, I found it quick this time.
Yeah, I came in. I wasn't even subscribed anymore. I had to subscribe. I said, what in the world?
Let's see.
I've been trying to get a hold of some other people to come on, and they've been hee-hawing around.
I'm sorry. Heather shared it to Rachel on Facebook, actually. So I have to give her credit.
Okay.
Sister, you gotta get off me. You burning me up. You hot right now.
Man, ain't
You
this?
like having a blanket on.
You know it's bad when you. So what's the opposite of a 3-dog night? When it's cold, you have a get
That
off
dog
my
was
bed.
putting off some heat.
Yeah, our Trigger's still growing, of course, and he seems like he's putting out 3 times the heat that Honey does, and he always wants to get up next to you. And like you said, it's hot out. You're like, you don't want to, hurt his feelings. Be like, you got to get off me.
Yeah.
I'm about to suffocate.
I got a boxer lab mix. I guarantee you he weighs close to 100 pounds. So he get on top of me.
Mash the air out of you.
Yeah.
Y'all, Wendell scared me a few times. I'd be, because I didn't sleep. If I slept 3 hours a night up down at Hollins, that was probably pretty good. But I would glance over and he would be on his phone sometimes. Well, it was early in the morning. It was raining. And I looked over and he was slumped over his steering wheel like this. And I was like, Heather, we might not go check Wendell, see if he's breathing. He fell asleep straight down like that. And anybody I've ever seen in that position usually wasn't in too good a shape. It scared me.
Hey, I heard something and looked out there, and at 2:30 in the morning, he's over there making coffee.
Well,
So I went over and sat with him, and that's when we heard that rock hit my truck.
But speaking of coffee, that I'm learning stuff too. Gary pulled some Folgers out like a tea bag.
Yeah.
That was good. Wendell was boiling water that Sunday morning, and that hit the spot. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I got to get down to Walmart and get me a box of that.
Patrick busted his, and he was trying to drink around them grounds. It didn't work too good.
Well, I don't drink but 1 cup of coffee a day, and there ain't no sense in making a pot and pouring the rest of it out. So I just use that and make 1 bag, 1 cup,
You know the guys that we had our spot, and then you had Harley, and then you had the next 2 guys up there.
Paul and what's his name?
What was the
Robert, was it?
Was it Robert? So I had made cowboy coffee. And you just boil it, and then you don't have a filter or anything, and you pour cold water, and it slams most of the grounds to the bottom, right? We were getting kind of the end of it, and he was like, care if I get a cup of coffee? I said, no, go ahead, get all you want. And he was pouring. So now wait a minute, now that's cowboy coffee. He said, oh, it's all right. He got a big old slug of them grounds. He spit them out, looked at the bottom of that cup. It was thick. He threw it out, but he did get some of it before. But I can eat them things. I don't mind it too much.
That sounds like that story about that booger that time. That guy, I don't know if there's any truth to it, but that guy that said he got toted off by the boogers in his sleeping bag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think he gave him coffee and some snuff or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him snuff.
That's how he got away from the boogers.
Well, it was an osmos or something like that.
Did anybody watch Texas Show with Harley the other day?
I didn't get to.
I didn't get to see it.
I've seen half of it. It's too late for me.
Do you remember where he said he got them pictures from?
No. He told me up at the conference, but I can't remember.
If it was the one y'all showed, it was that was East Tennessee last year or a year before, I think. I'm not sure if I'm because I saw one you posted.
Austin. Yeah, Austin.
Yeah, I got on late, so I didn't catch where the pictures had came from. But he had a picture of what he called a dog man, and I copied that picture off of Texas Show, and that's an interesting looking critter.
Yeah,
Right in Alabama. heat exhaustion. Yep.
Well,
Y'all,
Wendell, I should have sent you the picture that I've got. In fact, I think I did last time, didn't
Uh, I if I got it and I posted it on my Facebook, that's where it's at.
I? Oh, you didn't post it on your Facebook.
Hey, Roger,
yes, sir.
that still shot that Flat Rock sent you from the thermal. You were talking about the face.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see a pointed deer on there?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the problem with that picture. Harley saw one thing, I saw something else, and Flat Rock is seeing, but Flat Rocks makes more sense. What he pointed out makes more sense of what I remember. I got distracted by the darker spot.
Yeah.
And it does look like you can see the ears, smaller ears, and the nose. When I told y'all live that it looked like it came down further and turned back up and under. All of that where Flat Rock pointed out makes sense to me. And that's exactly where he took the picture. I was trying to see something, and when I finally saw it, I got locked in onto it. But what's odd is now that I see what Flat Rock has pointed out, it looks better, if that makes sense. And I did see the brow ridge, the nose, the mouth. I just don't know what that. I'm thinking this right here in front of the face is a hand like this. So you're looking at this part of the hand, then you got the wrist, and you got this almost exact angle coming back here. So it looks like a wrist and a forearm, but it looks like it's. You remember I said it looked like it's peeking out the right side of the tree.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's like this. So anyway, knowing that when that was taken, there's something there. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And his made more sense because people kept saying, well, what did it look like? And he had it set to dark hot. Well, I remembered the face looking more whitish, and I'm like, and this was after, and I'm like, well, that don't make sense. It looked like it would be hot. But when you look at the picture, everything's got its own shade, and you can tell. And Mark, have you seen that picture yet? I think you saw. You might have seen my markup, which is probably wrong. I'll send you. I could post it where everybody could see it, but I may send it to some of y'all first.
Yeah, send it to me. Let me look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I might show it because I don't want to put it on somebody else's page and it it stir up anything because it. I don't know because it's not definitive. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not like we went to Olin Mills and had the picture taken again with Bigfoot. So.
Right. That was like the thermal video that I had. It just wasn't definitive. You could see the movement, and it was probably whatever I saw walking.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I didn't get that on video. But what I did get, you can see movement.
Yes.
It's not definitive.
And it's not locked into one spot. It's like it's one big thing behind all this, and
right.
parts of its body's moving. Yeah, we can. I mean, if that's share it and see what you can get. Like, what has happened? It's like we got these videos, and like with our video, we get, oh man, oh crap, oh my god, and then like nobody knows where to go with it because I've sent it to people who are supposedly have caught stuff like that before, and all I've got back is, hey man, that's good capture or whatever. And I said, well, it was luck. But I've had a few explanations of what it could be, and I'm not going to say, everybody's got their own thing, and I don't know. It could be any of them. It could be a combination of some of them. I don't know. But I guess we need to start with yours, me and you both saw something big down there, and it just confirmed something was down there.
Right.
You can't make out an outline or anything, but for us being there and seeing it, it's like, okay, well, we got this too, but you just can't tell what it is. Mark can, or Gary or Wendell.
I think a lot of times we pick up stuff like that, and it's because it's not definitive, because it could be in the process of shifting. It might be one thing and then shifting into something different. And I think that happens.
Hold on a second. Did you see the biped walk in and catch your thermal lock before or after the orb started? That was before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was that was actually what got it all started, was seeing the red light, which I'm not calling an orb because it just looked a red light. And it was small. And then you pulled out the thermal and saw what you saw, handed it to me, and took off. And that's how it all got, and then came back with the other one.
Right.
So the orb and stuff was like, just came into the pictures. We was looking for this other stuff that we'd seen before. Yeah, it's.
Do you have the video?
Me? I have it. I can't show it on here. I could show it on.
Wendell doesn't have it?
I don't think so.
No.
Let me see if I can
can't
see
even get my own video to come up on here.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's once you learn how to do it, you're all right. But I had to get an MP4 converter. It's like $7 for a lifetime. And what I do is I take and let's see, just kind of send it to there, and it'll convert it, and that way it'll go on to StreamYard. It's the best $7 I ever spent. But I had somebody
conference.
I had somebody contact me today. I said, you need to go back and look at that orb video. I'm like, so I called. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And it's like, well, when that orb comes by before it does the crazy stuff, said you can see something peeking out, and it was odd. I haven't shared none of this, just with a few people. It said, right, you can see something peeking out the right side of a tree. And he said, I think that's what's controlling the orb. And I'm like, okay. But I thought that was odd that he said that it was peeking out the right side, because this has been mentioned several times. I went back and looked at it, and there seems to be something possibly, but I don't have the capabilities to go frame by frame and all that. So I can't.
Well, that picture you sent me looks like two heads. One looks like a demon. One looks like some kind of dog thing.
I know. And that's why I went and looked at that one. And if you really look at it, it looks like a side of a hand, the wrist and everything, because it's hotter than the rest of it. So I figure it's closer than the rest of it. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But the face you can clearly see the tree. There's something either attached or resting on that tree. What made most sense was the hand. And if you're peeking out behind the tree, you're probably going to put your hand in the most comfortable spot, which is about right here, and look around. So I don't know.
Yeah, I found sometimes I zoom in too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I back out a little bit, sometimes that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I zoom in too much,
or just get away from it for a while and go back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I've been catching is on my big screen TV, and I take my phone and do a snapshot of it and then cropped it down where it can be seen.
Yeah. I find a lot of stuff when I put it on the TV. Can see a lot more stuff.
Well, you remember I kept telling everybody when I first saw it, Flat Rock sent it to me, I was looking at it on my phone, and I'm like, oh my God, that looks like birds, because I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Then we went and put it on Peyton said, well, put it on the big screen. I'm like, how do we do that? So he put it from the phone to the TV, and I sat back and was like, oh goodness, what I was seeing is right there, and I was so relieved. Y'all don't know how relieved I was that it showed up, because I sat there and I'm like, I done run my mouth, told everybody what I saw, and then it ain't going to be on there, and I'm gonna look like the biggest fool in the world. And I'm like, I need to shut up, And
well, I saw it too. I saw it too at the tail end of it. I saw it too, but I didn't get it on video. But I did see it because I told you, I see it. I got it.
Yeah. Did you see it in yours?
Yeah.
And I say I hadn't looked at that yet. When it drops into your view, what did it look like on yours? Kind of the same.
It looked kind of the same, basically.
Okay.
Not quite as clear, but it was just right at the tail end. Is when it dropped down and it went straight back up, and then it angled off to the right. That's when I caught it. When I said I saw it, and
right.
I saw that at the same time in my thermal, but I wasn't recording when I saw it.
I'm glad we had several people there, and like I said before, I'm glad when something does happen in Hollins, there's usually more than one person that's involved in it. So that way, it's like with us, we kind of know how each other reacts now under pressure. So
Roger, run.
Yeah, I know, right? I know this, and I think sometimes we don't give it the wow factor goes away after you talk about it for a week or so, but it's still just like Varak said right here. All of that all put together, what happened, and there's more. There's definitely more. Then that'll be coming out.
Oh yeah.
The orb. So me not knowing anything about the stuff, the equipment. I think Flat Rock said it was on 2.5. So when I was looking at it through the viewfinder or whatever you call it, it was clear as day, and it was closer. It appeared closer to me. Now in the video, it's not as clear, and it looks farther away. I'm wondering if there's a setting of like, it's like sometimes you can go 1080p, 4K, whatever. I'm wondering if he's recording in another setting than what I was looking at, because what I was looking at was as crisp and sharp and clear as you could ask for. So I don't know why it recorded like that. It could have been, like I said, it could have been on 1080p or something. I don't know if that's a fact. I don't know at all, but
I think Flat Rock said that that there's not, it's just it's all standard set. Okay. That there's not an option or choice to change it. I think that's what he said.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. And I've got I still have a video from Hollins that I took back in December during the day, and I'm still going through that. I need to show that to Mark when I come up. Because I don't know how to send it because it's too long to send. But there's some stuff going on in it, and I don't know. I just need some other eyes to look at it. Yeah.
Y'all, I gotta run.
Be sure to bring it with you.
Well, before you do, there's some folks came in late. Anybody want to recap what we talked about at the first of the video? Just bring them up to speed.
Y'all go ahead.
Well, it started off with what you and seen on with that went across the roadway there, and then we found the imprints there, and then we've just went through basically pretty much with Billy and Gary arriving on Saturday and Sherry and them, and everything progressing all the way to the next Sunday. And all the different things that people seen. It was a good camp out. The weather stayed fairly decent, and everybody had a little activity and got a little bit something going on. So that's the way I look at it. It turned out real good, and some people caught some audio, people caught some video, and it just wasn't Bigfoot stuff. It was all kind of different stuff. So
yeah, it was definitely a great weekend, or weekend, and the only thing I regret was going to the conference because there wasn't nothing to go to this year.
Well, the only thing I don't regret about going to the conference, I actually got to go take a shower, and then John saw those orbs following me. That was kind of strange. But I am going to say this. Jean has been dealing with these things, both Dogman and Bigfoot, all her life. So she thinks that it was them remote viewing the conference.
Yeah, I've seen that in her chat. It's a possibility. Maybe that's what an orb is somebody remote viewing. We don't know for sure.
I've heard a lot of biblical scholars say they're information gatherers. That's what they think orbs are. They're gathering information. And that's guys that's on up there in biblical studies. Yeah, it's a big baby here with me. But
oh, love that sister.
Now wait, Mark, we know you're not talking about Becca because we can see her sitting over to the hiding to the side.
Yeah, she's staying head out. She's been out fooling with her goats today, and she's hot and sweaty, and so that's why she ain't getting in camera. She's trying to stay out of it. So we got the babies here with us. So
yeah,
and
well, I'm going to tell y'all something. I can't wait another year to come see everybody.
I'm telling you, that's the best part about our get-togethers is just sitting around the camp and talking to everybody. That's the best part.
It's good fellowship, very good fellowship.
And I don't want to wait a year to be down there again. I mean, if my health will hold out, I'm going to try to get back.
Come camp in our camp.
And I do got to report some good news. Everybody's been praying, and I thank you for the prayers. My kidney function is up to 22, and it's holding steady there.
That's
good,
great.
Good. That's
good news.
And we're going to continue praying for you.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I appreciate that. I pray for all y'all every day myself.
Now, if I can get an invitation to Flat Rocks, I'll be doing good. I'll be to the two places that are number one in Alabama that I know of, other than Hollins.
Mark, I'm going to be up there in a couple of weeks, so I'll probably be there about a week. So I'm sure I'll get. Yeah, I got to come see you goats. Miss Becca's goats. See the new baby.
Oh, yeah.
And sister.
I want to get back to Greg's, too. I love his place.
Yeah, I want to get back up there, too. I didn't find nothing except for that one fingerprint on the window up there, and he didn't seem to be too thrilled about it, but I was.
Well, we didn't have, well, I'm not going to say that. Nothing showed itself while I was there, but there was one out in the woods, and the dogs were looking straight at it when we were sitting out on the picnic table eating our supper. And I could feel that it was there, but we didn't have anything show itself. But that's not the reason I want to go back. I just love Greg's place. I mean, the man cave is exceptional.
It is a beautiful place inside. And he has a lot of stuff hanging on them walls that's absolutely fantastic.
He says he has a lot of times people see things by his gas tank,
Yeah.
propane tank,
Yeah.
and knocking on the tank. And I've heard several people say that. I don't know what it is about a gas tank. I know that PJ Arkansas, Pam, she has a lot of that on
They
their
like
tank.
the sound. They like the sound of it when it echoes off that propane tank.
They evidently do.
Yeah.
Or maybe they can, something about the smell of it or something. They make it smell.
Well, I
Something
think
about
with
the
Greg's, it's, where it's located close to the tree line where they can slip up behind it.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say that, though, about their gas tanks, things hitting their gas tank.
Yeah.
They come up here and they don't hit my propane tank because it's too far out. They come up here and hit the side of my house right here where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all ever heard of them breaking off limbs and beating the house with limbs?
Oh, they don't do that. They just come up here and use their fingernails and scratch down the wall to
I
let
got
me
a
know they're
cousin.
outside.
I got a cousin. He's had them. They'd beat on the wall, bang on the wall, the doors. They even break off limbs and throw limbs at the house and beat on the house with the limbs.
Huh.
It's down there on Hillaby Creek.
Yeah, they're just
Maybe it's
letting me
not a
know they're
booger.
here.
Maybe it's the other one.
Could be.
Hey, I got both of them here. Neither one of them bother me. They both watch out for me.
Yeah, they had all kind of stuff down there on Hillaby Creek.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful
I
creek.
finally,
Yes, it
I
is.
finally saw the dog man here a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen him.
How close did he come?
Oh, he was probably a couple 100 yards away from me. He was standing beside a tree watching me.
You see that, Ken?
No, let me look. See. So, Ken, what did he do to upset them if they are throwing trees at the house? I guess just living there.
I think sometimes
Well,
they do it just to get your attention.
they've been
Yeah,
here
young ones.
all my life. Until I was 4, I lived a half mile up the road, and then I moved here in '71, and they've been here. They were here back then, even when I lived with my grandparents down the road. They watched over my grandparents. They watched over my mom. They watched over me. I've tried to tell people for years, yes, there are some bad ones out there, both Dogman and Bigfoot. There are bad ones. I'll never say they're not, but not all of them are. A lot of them are good people, just like us.
Well, fellas, it's been a really great show. I think we got to tell a few things that happened, and I think we've been on here for 2 hours and 23 minutes, so I guess we ought to wind it up and let
Brother,
somebody
I've
else.
enjoyed being on here with all my brothers and enjoyed it. Been relaxing and fun. So it's been a good time.
It's been a great time. And I thank y'all all for coming in. And we'll do it again as soon as we get something else to talk about.
All right.
Brother Wendell, thank you. I appreciate the chance to come on.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry I had so much trouble at the start. My laptop was acting up. I just couldn't hear anything.
That's fine. I'm glad it got straightened out where we could finish the show with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that laptop or get somebody else to see what's going on with that.
You might just have to clear out some of your data that's saved or something.
Yeah, it was working fine Sunday on Woodwalkers. It worked fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Had a bug in it somewhere.
Well, I'm going to say good night, everybody. And
Thanks, y'all.
Thank y'all,
Thank y'all.
all for coming on.
Good night,
See y'all
everybody.
later.
Good night,
Love all
everybody
y'all.
in the chat. Sorry, couldn't talk, reply to y'all. And here we go. I'm ending the stream.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Not everybody.